Hey, welcome to Mike's Trains, and thanks for joining me for another video. This is the video now that I'm going to start building the wall flat that's going to go along the back of the building, and this is the kit we're going to start with. This is going to be a Kitbash kind of a thing, and I'm going to take this building right here. Here's a closer look at the kit that we're going to start with. So this is the Hilltown Hotel from what is it, Walthers, I believe. Woodland Scenics makes these. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn this into a whole different building. Alright, and I chose this building because it's the tallest building that I could find in N scale. Alright, that comes in a kit. And the problem is it's not long enough. Okay, so let's just take a look at what's in the kit. This is what you get. We'll open this up. We'll take a look at it. So inside of here, this is all the glass, the window glazing. Okay, and this is the styrene. Back here is the styrene for the roof. All of this stuff is going to go into my scrap bin. We're probably not going to use maybe the window glazing, but the roof panel definitely not going to be able to use. These are for the roof. This little piece of styrene is for the doorway. We have a back panel. We have a front panel. We have one of these side panels which goes on like this. Okay, so this building can sit, let's say, on a corner of an intersection. Alright, not really what I'm going to do with this. And then there's another panel that I don't have right here. I don't have one handy. Another panel goes here, and then the back goes on. Of course, the doors are right here for the front. None of this stuff is going to stay. I've already started working this building a little bit. So let me take out those parts. These are extra pieces. I will say I did buy a couple of these kits. I accidentally got a hold of more than I needed. I wanted a couple of kits. To do this, I needed 2. But I ended up with, I believe it was 4 accidentally, and I ended up keeping them because I figured, well, I'll figure out something to do with them. So the first thing I did with these buildings was I made that car dealer, which was a series or 2 ago, and 2 more kits are going to go to this building. We'll put everything back in the bag. We're not going to use any of this stuff. We'll put that to the side. Here's what we're doing. So I have, this is the new configuration for the building front. You can see what I've done is I've taken 2 of these sides. This is one of the sides, and I added it right to this side of the building like this. And then I cut out these lower set of windows here, and I replaced it with a section of brick, right? So that gives me a much longer building. And then the red you see is excuse me, the red you see here is just a little bit of filler just to fill in any small gaps. There really wasn't much, but I wanted to make sure that it was all filled. Now I need to do the same thing to this side. Okay, but you can see here that this is cut on a bevel and this is cut on a bevel, and the 2 together, 245s like this, isn't going to work, right? So this side here I need to cut off, and you can see the pencil lines I have in here. So we need to cut off all the way back to the edge of the windows here. All of this needs to come off. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that in a little bit. But before we do that, we need to take care of this bevel right here, and the same with this one over here. I need these to be square ends so that we can make the sides coming back off of that. So why don't we start with that, and while that's drying we can move on to some other stuff. So I have my glass. and it's kind of dirty, as you can see, because I've been working on it. So what I'm going to do, here's what I have. I have some strips of 60,000 styrene. This is, again, out of my scrap bin. I cut these out of a wide piece. They're each a 1/4 inch. And what I'm going to do, now I cut them and I didn't finish the whole cut. So what I have here, after you cut this styrene, at least I do, I don't know how anybody else gets by without it, but there's always a raised edge at the edge that the knife went on. So I just take my flat blade here and I come down and I just run it down that edge, and it takes off that whole raised section. This one I must have cleaned already because I don't feel it on here. Okay, so now to get rid of this bevel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue here. I did this on the car dealer. If you haven't watched it, same thing. I had to get rid of this bevel, and this works fairly well, so I'm going to do it again. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my glue and one of these strips, and we're going to run it right up the bevel here. I'm going to run it just past the bottom, and I'm going to let it overhang on the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a whole bunch of this glue right down the edge, like that. And then we're going to put this on here, and we're going to let that glue. Now it's going to go past the edge on the front here, and that's all fine. We don't need to worry about that. Okay. And then on top of that, we're going to take one more strip and we're going to cover that piece again. We're just going to let that dry. I'm not going to mess with that any further. I want this to dry up. We're going to put this to the side. So now we can tackle this piece. And put this to the side. Now we're going to tackle this piece. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of this piece right here. And we need to cut it back to right here. So right here on the thing, we want to cut off this column right here only. And I have a new tool that the wife had gotten me, or actually my son got me, for my birthday a few months back, and I haven't had a chance to use it until now. And I used it on the other side, and I'm going to pull it out now, and we'll use it. I'm going to cut off this piece with it. So let me get it out, and we'll start doing that. Okay, so what I have here is this grinding wheel. I like it. A few issues I have with it. I wish it was a variable speed on the wheel. You know, this is what I've gotten, so I have to deal with it. But yeah, if it was variable speed, it would be much easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this side. I've squared up the table to the wheel and this to the wheel as well. And we're just going to take this and I'm going to put it on here, and we're just going to set it in there and grind off down to that point that we want to get rid of the plastic. Okay, so here we go. Now we're down to the wheel, and I'm just going to give this a quick hand sanding just to make sure that we're all the way down, because this machine does take it off really fast. As I said, if this was a variable speed, I could slow it down and take things a little easier. But, you know, it is what it is. Alright, so let's get rid of this machine and then we'll move on to attaching this. Okay, so before we attach this or even think about attaching it, there's a little bit more work we have to do. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking my flat blade and I'm just going over all the glue, all the edges to make sure that they're good and clean, because you ain't gonna be able to, you're not gonna really be able to get in there afterwards. So carefully, without gouging anything, we want to go in and we want to clean all of this off the edges, any hanging on like this, and just get this all off of there. Okay. Now you notice I'm not cleaning any of this bottom. So we got this all cleaned up on the top here. Now we need to get the brick detail into here. So I'm going to take my cutters here and we have to cut out these two sets of windows. So I'm going to take my cutters and I'm going to go right up. I'm going to use this edge as a guide and I'm going to run my cutters right up against that. Like that. Then we can cut this up over here, and then this one, and then this will just fall off, and we'll just keep going. We just want to be careful not to damage any of this stuff. Alright, so now that's out of there. Now we just need to take the file and just file this nice and smooth. Okay, so now we have this window removed. We want to make sure that everything is out of here that we need out. Okay, so now we need the brick piece to go in here. Now I have that set aside here. What did I do with it? So in this pack I have all kinds of pieces that I've saved. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut. See, I already have a pencil line going right up the edge here, and then we're going to use this. So we're going to cut right along this pencil line here, and then this edge right here, this ledge is going to be our cut line across the top. So let's cut that off. So now we have our brick edge. The only thing I need to do is square up this side. And I think that's it. And I'm going to sand this so that I don't have this little lip here. Okay, so this little lip that was here is now gone. And I don't know, it doesn't show on camera, but what I'm doing is I'm slightly beveling backwards everything. Okay, I don't want it, I want it beveled this way, but only just a slight amount. Okay, so now this side I'm going to do the same. Like that. Alright, so now we have that side. Now this side here we need to cut. And to do that, I'm going to take, I have a square here. I want to make sure it's good and square, and I'm not going to use the machine because it just takes this down way too quick. I'm going to take this and I'm going to run this. How am I going to do this? Let's run it this way. Yeah, I guess I ain't going to fit that. So what I need is I need to actually I'm going to do this a different way. Here. I'm not going to use, what I was originally trying to do was square it up so I could fit it in this way. I think we'll fit it this way. Okay? So that way I just need to clean off this bottom edge. Yeah. So now this will fit right in here like this. As you can see, it's not fitting fully. You can see it's not totally fitting inside the corner here. There's something holding up, so we need to clean that out a little more. See? Now it will fit right in there. So let's glue this into place. So we need the glass back. Actually, I think I did this with the other one as well, is I sanded down for thickness. This plastic is very, very thick. Alright, so I'm going to sand the back of this down a little bit, just to thin it just a little bit. Alright, so that should take it down a little. Doesn't need to be a lot, but you know, we want this brick wall here to be thinner than these pillars. We want those to stick out just a little bit. So they're pretty much the same right now, but it's hard for me to show you on camera, but this brick wall is a little bit just past flush of this molding trim here. So I'm going to set the glue in there. Now I did the other side a little bit differently and I ran into troubles, and this is my fix for that. So this is how I'm going to do these from here on. Everything's a learning process. So I'm going to take a little bit of glue. We're going to run it right down the sides here. I'm going to fit that in there like that. And then we're going to run it down the side here. And let it get right down in there. Okay. So now I'm going to take this and I'm just going to push it back in the wall so that it leaves the reveal that I want to leave. Alright, now before I take this off, I want to mark off the wall itself. So again, back with the square, I'm going to take this and I'm going to let it fall and hold the building wall up tight over here. I'm going to take my pencil and just mark that like that. And then we can take the glass, put it away. And then we can cut this piece. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my straight edge and my knife like this and just lightly get this started. So now we have the wall to size. Okay. Alright, now we got to deal with this building, this whole wall here. Now, in order to deal with this, we're going to start with this. We're going to cut this off flush. Wow. And then we're going to cut this one off. we're going to start on the back, and we're just going to sand that down. And this may take a while, so I'm going to shut off the camera, and I'm going to do this because I don't know how long this is going to take. It takes a while. I've done this before, so it's just a matter of taking it like this. Okay, so it's just a matter of doing that until I get this whole raised part flush to the back wall here. And then once that's down like that, then we're going to take this side and start sanding it down this way. Okay, and that way it'll leave, when you're looking at it from the top, it'll leave a small triangle straight across like this, and then straight back like this. It's just going to leave this little triangle right here, and that's going to give us our straight edge, and we need to do that on both sides. Okay, but again, it's a slow process, but it works great, and I'm gonna do this on both sides, and then we'll come back and take a look. Alright, so I've taken the time, I finished all the sanding, and this is what we end up with. Alright, so you can see it's just a little bit of the triangle corner here. Let's see. There you go. And it's just, the edges are all squared off, nice and flat. Okay, and the same with this side. Alright. So now we're just going to attach the two sides together, and we're going to make the full building. So let's get some glue down and get these sides attached. So just like everything else, a little bit of glue down the sides. And then I'm just lining up these lines right here. And then this small gap on top, we're not going to worry about it. That's going to come, we're going to come back and fill that in when this all sets up. And that's pretty much it. So now we have the new front wall. This is how it's going to be. The only thing I need to do is trim off this little bit down here that hangs down, and this building front is done. Now the next thing to add to this is this building front. Now this is another one I've customized, and it was storefronts like these on the bottom, and I cut out these windows and I added extra windows to it. This is going to get added right to the end here, and that's going to get glued in just like that. You'll notice that this doesn't lay flat, and the reason for that is, you can see here I recessed the door. Okay, so this doesn't sit quite flat, and I added some steps in the front, but this will go like this, and we'll add that right onto the front. But see, now we don't have this edge here. I have to square up this edge here so that this building, and I want to square up this a little bit. We have a slight bit of an angle here. I may fill this here to have a full flat edge to glue to this building here, because when you lay them this way, you can see there's a space down in here. So I need to fill this one, I think, as well. Same as I did these corners, I need to do this one as well to add to this building. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to do that off camera, and I think we'll come back to this next week and continue on with this project. There's some other modifications we're going to make to this second floor. So anyway, that's a good start for this building. You can see where we are. We're going to let this harden as it is, and then we'll move on to adding this. This, by the way, is an old building that I had on the layout that I took apart, stripped down, and I'm redoing. So yeah, this is new kits, but this is a repurposed building. So that's it for this week. That's all I got. That's all we're going to do for this week. So if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do. If you like what you see, I'd love to have you along. Don't forget to like and share my videos if you liked what you saw. Until next time, happy modeling.